Today I thought I would talk about perspective. We are all so completely sure that what we see is what is happening, right? There's a very famous story, and I don't remember it completely. It's always at times like this when stories fail you, right? Four blind men were touching an elephant, and one man touched the leg and said, "Oh, this is a tree." And then one man touched the tusk and said, "Oh, this is a stone." So each person touched a different part of the elephant, and based on their impression of it, they decided what this creature or what this thing in front of them was. And we are all like that. We are all like that. We believe that what we see is true, and that what we see is what everybody else sees. Do you know that not even one eye sees the same thing that the other eye sees? I mean, try it. Close your eye and look out and see what you see. And then close the other eye and now look. It is something totally different. It's a different part of the room. Not only that, what you're seeing, what the eye is seeing, is actually an image that is upside down. And we know that because we studied this in school, right? How rays go in straight lines. So the image that is being projected onto your retina is actually inverted. So how do you know that this world is not inverted? Could very well be inverted, right? Your mind does something, the optic nerve sends messages to some part of your brain that flips the image. And what you see as grey could be what somebody else sees as purple. The green that you see does not necessarily mean that the other person is seeing the same color. So even in terms of physical phenomena, we don't see the same thing. We don't see the same thing. Yet, we expect everybody to agree with everything that we do, that we think, that we believe. How is that even possible? When each one of us is developing our own perspectives. Now, if we put 20 people in a room and we made them look at, say, you can see the flowers behind me. I don't know if you can see. There's a bunch of flowers behind me. Put a flower in front of people. One person will say, "Wow, this is a beautiful flower." Somebody else will say, "Oh my God, this is no fragrance at all. These flowers, I tell you, are just miserable." Someone else will say, "Look at the nail polish. She doesn't even use nail polish. No time to paint her nails, doesn't take care of herself." Right? And someone else is going to say, "What's she wasting her time for? I know that this is a rose. Go on, come on." So you can present one item to someone, and each person will bring their own ideas into the moment based on their past experience, based on their karma, what they have gone through in life, the karma that has unfolded in their lives, based on the people that they meet, based on who they talk to, what they're reading, what social media they're exposed to, which TV channel they watch, based on their age group, their sex, their background. Everything decides your perspective on life. Now, I always repeat this when from time to time, because this is a memory of mine that really makes me so happy. We were driving on Tulsi Pipe Road in Bombay, coming from the airport, and a street water pipe had burst, and the water was going like 20 feet into the air. And there were these kids, urchins, street children, dancing in the water, dancing away in the water. Now, I cannot tell you how heartwarming that scene was. And I was just thinking, if some foreigners, first time to this country, drove by, first thing they'll notice the whole street is clogged and this water is escaping. They look at this country, they can't even control their infrastructure. And then they're going to see a bunch of kids without any clothes dancing around there. And they're going to think of the poverty and the misery and the suffering that everyone's going to. You see, we all bring our own perspectives into every situation. And today, you see, when we're all voting, right? We're all chosen our candidate. And we all have brought our personal perspective into the reason we pick a candidate. You interview 40 people, and all 40 people will have a different reason. You cannot create one mind. You cannot create one mind because the mind, by its very nature, is diverse. You cannot make monkeys out of human beings. You cannot make everybody behave in the same manner. It causes rebellion. There is something inside of you that rebels against being put into a mold and forced to think in a certain way and behave in a certain manner, because there is an innate recognition or an innate longing of a freedom that you always possessed. And that freedom expresses itself in your view of the world. And that is your free will. That is your free will. That is why there is no one prescription, you don't fall into a particular category. See, we all we need to put everybody into little boxes, into little labels. And we do that with different things. So these are all Indians, these are all Latinos, these are all whatever, African Americans. You put them into boxes. But you can't. All Latinos don't have a similar perspective. They just don't. No two families have the same take on life. No two families will even eat the same food at the dinner table. Each one of us is so unique in the way we approach our life. And you'll see that in your children too. You can give them the same upbringing, the same religion, the same food, and both your children will be completely different. Have different perspectives on life. But there is some force that unifies us all. So the truth, and I keep repeating this, is always contradictory. And it is because it is so contradictory that it makes our life so interesting. Imagine if we all behaved in exactly the same way. If we all did exactly the same thing. If we all had the same outlook in life. There's no growth. There's absolutely no growth. It's only when people have of different perspectives, different visions, of different backgrounds come together that the blending takes place, and a little give, a little take, a little understanding, a little love, a little compassion, a little sharing. See, that makes it all so much more beautiful. So much more beautiful. We don't all have to be exactly alike to get along. That understanding that we all belong to one race, and that the future of our entire species is the primary concern for all mankind. If anything, if you have to have one perspective on anything, it is to save this planet. So that we at least have something that we can leave for our children and our grandchildren. And even there will be different perspectives. You take climate change and you take environmental protection. People are focused on preserving the ocean. Somebody else is focused on preserving rainforests. Someone else is about air quality. Someone else is about sea level rise. Someone else is about flooding and hurricanes. See, we all have different focus in our life, different calling in our life, different areas in which we give our attention to. And this perspective comes based on what we get exposed to. From a young age, whatever you are exposed to, all that makes you who you are. Now, when we were growing up, there was almost no spiritual training, a lot of religious training, a lot of exposure to religion and religious activities and rituals, but almost no exposure to things like yoga and meditation and spiritual philosophy and all of that. Now, for my kids, it started for them when they were teenage. Now, when they have children, they will probably teach it to their children from infancy. From infancy. Now their exposure is different, their perspective on life itself will change. Now as you have become exposed to a spiritual aspect of life, how much has it increased your sense of belonging, your sense of sharing, of loving and compassion in the world? See, it affects one little part of your life. Just meditation, at 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, affects so much else. So you can imagine what difference it makes when your child is sitting in front of a television program or a television show for 4 or 5 unsupervised hours in a day. What are they watching? What are they exposed to? We only meditate for 15 minutes and it's having an impact on our lives. These kids are watching shows about dysfunctional families or whatever, if they are, and imagine how that's going to affect their perspective on life. Because the subconscious does not know whether it's getting the feedback from real life or from a television screen. Your perspective gets skewed if you keep watching and you keep reacting to what you're watching. And nowadays, a lot of the news and a lot of the shows are based on fear. Murder mysteries, you take a murder mystery, you take even these reality shows, Fear Factor. A lot of it is based on fear. So, even something like American Ninja Warrior, which I love to watch. But I get anxious, I can feel my stomach tightening. Oh my God, I hope he makes it, I hope he makes it, I hope he makes it. So the subconscious does not know that I'm not in a fearful situation. I'm not in a tense situation because my body is getting tense. My heart is racing. They did something on TV the other day where they put an oxypulse oximeter on people as they were voting, okay? And each person was asked a question like, what do you think about this topic? Or what do you think about that topic? And based on whichever topic really they felt passionate about, their heart rate was going up and being recorded. I mean, going from 70, 80 to 150 in the matter of 30 seconds of talking. It was very interesting for me to see that because it just shows that what we talk in a day, what we discuss, what we think about, what we text about, what we watch on TV, all this skews our perspective. It takes us away from this peace and joy that we need. We need. We need this in our life. We need it. We need that to have some sort of a force that brings you down to the center. That takes you away from all those raging emotions. That loosens this grip that life has on you. That no matter what goes on around you, no matter what's happening, it's just another show on television. I mean, we spend our entire life looking at the writing on the paper and never thinking about the paper itself. Without the paper, there's no writing. All of our attention goes on the world of form, of letters, of shapes, of sizes, of messages. These are the forms in life. And it is the formless that is the most important. You take a book, without the paper, what are the letters? Where will they be? Similarly, your perspectives are like letters on a paper. Your perspectives are just a collection of thoughts that have come together and given you a notion of life. But your life, what yourself, your real persona, that one that you truly are and the one that you long for, is the screen on which the movie is being projected, is the paper in which the words are written. It is the background that is so important, the water that the wave is made of. So many different analogies you get all over the place that point you in the right direction, that tell you, don't fight over your perspective, don't argue with your friends, don't try to get that last word in, don't say that what I see is what is. Because you just never know. You just never know. It could be completely a delusion, and like Radha has said to me many times, you might wake up one day and discover that we are bacteria in the left nostril of a giant. Right? So on that note, we'll say Om Namah Shivaya.